going on, day one? I'm Gabriel Smith, and I got more behind the scenes footage. We took a little break, but it's because we had to make some updates to our textures, our environments. We got new models, better lighting. I mean, everything looks so much better. I guarantee you it's going to be worth the wait. Before we start doing our animation clips and everything, I wanted to make some additional updates to Viz's facial rig. This pretty much allows him to talk, blink, move his face. So I'm going to just kind of break down the process and some of the workflow that it takes to get a facial rig ready for animation. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we got Viz's character model with no textures, and we don't really need the textures for what we're about to do. I already finished the eyes, so I'm gonna just show you some of the updates we did. As you notice, when he moves his eyeball now, the little skin around his eyelids follow. That's something we didn't really have there before. It just kind of gives a little bit better feel when he's looking around, doing his expressions. We also kind of tightened up his blinking, and we added some eyelashes that are hidden right now. But in this video, we're just gonna focus on working on the eyebrows. Now I sped this video up to squeeze, 3 to 4 hours of work into a, decent sized video. So just bear with me. All right, so this right here is called character rigging. We're taking bones and we're gonna make different parts of his face or his body follow these bones. And wherever these bones go, the points and those lines will follow. So right now I'm just placing my bones around the eyebrows in the places that, I want to have the most control over. That'd be the ends of the eyebrows, the middle, and the inside eyebrow. You could put, more bones, but for this model, we just need 3 on each side. Now that I got them placed where I want, I'm gonna create these little helper boxes that's gonna help me move the bones, because I don't really want to move the bones. I only want the controller to move the bones for me. So I'm just creating a box for each bone. And this is crazy because a lot of people don't really get to see this part of animation, well, especially 3D animation. This is something that a character rigger would do, or a technical artist. They would set all this up and then hand it off to an animator to work with. So now I'm just making sure all my boxes and my bones are following the head. So when the head moves, they move. Even though right now we're not really worried about head movement, we still want to make sure it's set up correctly. Okay, so now we're getting under the hood. This is called skinning, where we actually tell the different parts of the body or the mesh or the model to follow each bone. And you can see it's kind of color coded. Of course, the hotter the color, the stronger the influence that bone has on that area. So I just go through each bone and make sure that at the very least, they're affecting this part of the eyebrow, but this is nowhere near done. I'm just kind of putting in like a base, kind of like a baseline to start with. And when I like what I have, I'll go ahead and start working on the other side, and I'll go ahead and just get like a baseline on the left eyebrow as well. And now that I got both sides done, it's time to move these boxes. So I'm about to go back in and I'm gonna say, hey, whenever I move this box or rotate this box, I want you to follow him wherever he goes, no matter what. And I'm gonna move these boxes to create like different shapes across that animation timeline on the bottom of the screen. And I'm gonna set different poses, and I'm just gonna see how the skin moves when, this box is over here and this box is over there. So there's a lot of back and forth, but it's worth the time you put in. I mean, look at the eyebrows right now. They look crazy, right? Nowhere near where we want to be. But it's okay. That's when we go ahead and start massaging and, try to smoothen and blend things up a little bit. And we just do that by, giving more influence in that area to that bone. So, you see I'm using a lot more orange, yellow colors in those areas to kind of, bring it up more and make it look more like a natural eyebrow. Because I moved all the boxes the same amount straight up. So technically it should still look like the same eyebrow when I lift it up. So now that I got a decent skin on the eyebrows, at least it look like an eyebrow when they go up, I'll start to lay in a few different poses. Like I'll start with the eyebrow down. We got the eyebrow up already. Now I'm just kind of working on it like a sad sad eyebrow. And I'm not really worried about making these shapes 100% perfect. Right now, I only care about how does the face move when these certain parts of the body move. It's really all I care about now. And you see, I pushed the eyebrows out forward, even though that's not really realistic, but because this is 3D and animated, it's kind of a cartoony character. We can do things like that to kind of, push the limits and make his facial expressions even bigger. I remember when I first got into animation, I didn't even know there was this rigging part. I just thought, you push the button, the character just ran or walked or did whatever. But no, you got to do all of this before anything happens. All right, so now that I got a few poses set up where the face is actually moving in a few different poses, like I said, up, down, forward, sad. Now we can start actually influencing the face so it's following the eyebrow. And we're gonna go a little bit into the eyelids, and you notice that it's like really blue, is cold out there near the eyelids because we only wanted to affect the eyelids just a little bit, but we want it to look like skin. We don't want just a hard stop, just only the eyebrows are moving and nothing else. Here I decided to add an additional bone in the center of the brow, so we're about to get our Anthony Davis on right now with the bones. And we're gonna add one in the center just to give you some more extra control in between the two inner parts of the eyebrows. Now that I got that center bone all hooked up, I'm ready to go. I'm just gonna push the poses just a little bit more, just to make sure that I get enough, movement while I'm trying to fix the rest of the face up. I mean, this is just a bunch of back and forth, a lot of time. You got to have a lot of patience to be only a skinner or technical artist, because this is the stuff that people don't see. I mean, they see it, but they don't see the time you put in. I mean, I guess that's with anything, even with sports. Like everybody know that you could dunk, but they ain't see how many leg presses you did before you started dunking. Same thing. So again, I'm still just kind of working the eyebrows, bringing them up a little bit more, just to make sure that everything is even when as it's moving up. And I'm making sure not to touch the eyelids. I can go pretty close to it just so, you see that the skin is moving, but, we don't want anything on the actual eyelids. Once I get this going pretty good, I'll start using the head bone and massaging some of those values back. And you notice when I select the head bone, most of the head turns red because right now the whole entire head is following just the head bone. So anything that's kind of yellow per se, we'll say the head is affecting that area 50% and the bone is affecting that area the other 50%. So it's kind of a push and pull. Yeah, so that's starting to look pretty good right there. Where you got a lot of the upper eyelids right under the eyebrows are moving to it, and now I'm gonna start working on that center brow bone and get some influence in there in the center, just so I can help blend in between both eyebrows on each side. And again, it's just always a back and forth, seeing what it's doing, looking at it on all angles because it is 3D, and if you don't look at it on all angles, you will miss something. Make sure everything is tucked in and nice, and the skin is actually following the brow. That's starting to look good, but I still need to have that middle brow affect both eyebrows. So I'm going to add a little bit of influence on both of the eyebrows from the middle, just to help blend some of the motion up. Yeah, so even a little bit of that nose moves too, which is, how you want to see skin move. You want it to kind of pull and stretch a little bit. Yeah, now you can see how that center bone is affecting both of those eyebrows as I'm making new poses. I think I got a little left and right eyebrow up, and I can rotate that middle section and it just helps with the shape. Even on this shape, how I'm actually squeezing in the eyebrows, you can see that, that center part of the nose is being held together because it's following that center bone. So I can actually squeeze it, and you kind of simulate folds almost. So now I'm just kind of tightening up some of my shapes now that I actually have a better skin on the face. Now I'm just working through the poses. Now I'm just starting to add an angry pose, which is pretty cool. It's actually one of my favorite poses to make. I don't know why, it just is. So now we just got to go in, now that I have a new pose, I have to make sure that everything is looking good for that pose. So again, it's just back and forth, time consuming, especially now with an angry pose, you have to rotate those bones so much. You're kind of pushing the limits even more. So you have to go in and make sure, okay, this is looking good still on the up and the mad and the sad. They all have to work together. And again, don't be afraid to push it to the extreme. Like on this one, I just lifted it up so high to like purposely almost break his face. Just to make sure, like, hey, if I stretch it all the way out, is it still gonna look good? And that helps me make the smaller movements even better. So I also went and added an additional box for each eyebrow so I could rotate the eyebrows even more. I feel like I wasn't getting enough rotation. So I just added an extra box just to, push the rotation even more. Now I'm just, starting to polish a little bit, clean up. I brought the texture back in so we can kind of see what his skin is actually doing. And we could bring the eyes in with some of these poses too. Like when he's squinting, I can see what his whole face is doing. I had too much influence on the actual hairline. I didn't want the hairline to move that much, just wanted to kind of fold up to it. I really like how the eyebrows and the eyes are moving, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. In the next video, I'm gonna show how I worked on the nose and the cheeks. Thanks for watching. We got more behind the scenes, animation clips, and music on the way. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check out the website, TheGrindShow.com. Until next time, keep grinding.